What is up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a great day. Finally have some bullish signs emerging, at least in my opinion, from Bitcoin. Certainly have been, you guys know that I'm not a TA guy. I certainly don't advocate myself to be one, nor am I a financial analyst, any of this other stuff. But just looking at the market and looking at some of the things that I'm looking at, I certainly try to track the 21 and the 50 EMAs on the weekly. And historically, I've been posting this for a while now. If we actually do have a cross, it's about 90 days until we have that capitulation and that bottom, historically, except for March of 2020, because that was much quicker, and a lot of time to get back above. But we did not have a cross, and we are looking right now at some fairly decent sized candles that are on the weekly time frames. This hasn't closed yet, I don't believe, but it will shortly. And yeah, so it's exciting to me. But even in parallel with that, or in tandem with that, I try to look into things that are as simple as possible for me to look at. So I love this website. This is not live price action. This will probably be updated tomorrow. But I've been looking at the golden ratio multiplier. So essentially, this is a tool that historically and mathematically, kind of tracks Bitcoin price action based on Fibonacci sequence, and tracking highs, and the next cycle's high is one trend line lower or one fib number lower than the previous cycle high, etc., etc. But I've been looking at this more so for bear markets versus bull markets, and buying opportunities versus oversaturated and potential selling opportunities. So we can look back historically within this when we broke them below the bottom here. So this was 27th of September 2011. We did not get back above and really maintain that bullish action until 21st of June 2012. So you're really looking at about 10 months or so, 9 months. So, and this can be tracked out historically here. So the one thing for me though is we need to break above this bottom trend line here, right? These are immense opportunities whenever you're down below this, but we need to break back above to maintain bullish action here. Like I said, this is a little bit delayed, so if I look at this right now, this is $46,172, and right now Bitcoin price action is at $46,553, so we have broken above. And if you look historically in bear markets, there hasn't been a situation in any bear market where we've been below, where we really had a situation where we broke back above and then went lower than we were before. So is the bottom in, is the question that I would ask. I could go all the way back to 2011, but I think the cycles have changed a little bit. I don't think you're going to see as much crazy volatility. Another interesting thing, even if you zoom out a little bit with Bitcoin, and just talking about kind of higher highs, here's a higher high from here. I believe this was a higher high from here, right? And higher lows. So you got 1, 2, wherever we're at up here. So I'm not saying that we're bullish yet, but I have been looking at the golden ratio multiplier. Certainly, I'm not a TA guy, but I try to look at things from a very simple way. And I've been looking at a lot of different stuff from within this website. You could certainly, track RSI and the Gaussian channel on multiple time frames and all sorts of stuff that people like to do. And I like looking at that stuff as well. But these were the simple things that I've been looking at. All right, introducing HBAR X. This is going to be the first staking solution for HBAR token users. Obviously, this news came out probably last week, which is great. I wasn't doing as many videos last week. Taxes are a complete nightmare, by the way. I saw somebody post today that was like, these are ways to circumvent taxes. With like the shoulder shrug, and I was like, well, that's stupid. Like these are these are also ways to go to jail. Like I would never advocate, or I'd be an advocate for anybody not paying their taxes. I think that everybody in this space has seen kind of what's happened over the past week, 2 weeks, month, as far as KYC, AML initiatives through these exchanges, where all of the exchanges are basically sending out notifications via email and all sorts of other mechanisms, Twitter, etc., even when you log in, where you are going to have to add in your address, you're going to have to add in this, you're going to have to KYC yourself every time you send across borders. I think that's happening in Canada right now. I think with actually probably 4 or 5 countries with Coinbase right now. So, if you think that you can skate around what's going to be happening here whenever we do start having the hammer come down as far as regulatory clarity is concerned, I don't know. Maybe you can, but I wouldn't recommend doing it. that's why we see some people moving to areas that are more so tax havens with digital assets. Obviously, we don't have that opportunity. Not all of us have that opportunity, but I think we all need to make our own moves and don't try to skate around or circumvent the regulations and the taxes. So, all right. Yeah, but the staking solution for HBAR is going to be gigantic, in my opinion. We've all been waiting for this. I think a lot of the DeFi mechanisms within the Hedera network are going to be flushed out over the course of this year. I really do look at 2022 kind of as the year of Hedera Hashgraph and HBAR expansion. That's just my opinion, because we have a lot of smart people working within that ecosystem. We know that they have the HBAR Foundation has a huge fund out as well. But this is Stater Labs. If you're interested, you can give this is Stater_HBAR, and then Stater Labs also has, here, I'll go to it real quick. Stater Labs also has at Stater Labs, so check out that. I saw a couple of things interesting last week. I'm just going to rush through this real quick because I want to make sure that I touch on these at least a little bit. Russian lawmaker suggests nation could accept Bitcoin for oil payments, and we saw a lot of news surrounding this last week. Maybe it's a catalyst for what we've seen with Bitcoin price action. I tend to believe that the markets are going to do what they're going to do anyways, but it's gigantic, and we've been talking about this for a while as far as tokenization within what's going on in Russia with platforms like Atomize and tokenizing precious metals, et cetera, et cetera. This is just one more allusion to that. We keep getting rhetoric that Russia cannot use digital assets to circumvent sanctions, and Russia's telling you the exact opposite. So I don't know. I would believe what's coming out of the horse's mouth rather than the dog and pony show. And then from CoinDesk, EU set to experiment with blockchain-based stock, bond, and fund trading. Just more of an illusion with an A of the things that are definitely going to be coming in this space. Not surprising. I did see this last week since we talked about Hedera. LG adds blockchain and cryptos to new areas of business. We all know how big LG is as far as the electronics that they put out, and I just find it interesting. You look at kind of the institutions that are trying to future-proof themselves and make sure that they can play a part in kind of the future of finance here. LG, obviously, a Hedera governing council member. And then last but not least, if you don't know where this space is going, if you don't know the players that are involved, I put out a tweet. It was a little bit of satire, like. I don't think that Goldman Sachs is copying the XRP site from Ripple's website, but I do think it's interesting. Not even interesting; it's like mind-blowing to me that we see, these financial strongholds from the legacy perspective that are now literally their homepage is saying digitalization, from cryptocurrencies to the metaverse, exploring the megatrends that are reshaping economies, and then the metaverse and Web 3.0, and certainly allocating a lot of manpower into the testing within these networks, certainly allocating a lot of manpower from all of the mechanisms that they already allocate manpower to, as far as actually putting out media content, actually doing market research, all of these things. So, and Goldman Sachs is obviously a monster, been around forever. So this was very interesting to me last week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So certainly not giving advice as far as what's going on with Bitcoin. I think I would look at some sort of capitulation event as a massive opportunity. I've been kind of waiting for it because I haven't seen anything bullish that made sense to me until today. I think that we do have that cross above the bottom fib line within the golden ratio multiplier, which I've been watching, as well as a couple other things. But I think you can make that argument across the board where there's so many things saying it's still not bullish, but this was the first thing today for me where I'm like, well, I'm glad I still have positions in utility assets for me personally. And if we have confirmation of support, Bitcoin tends to run a lot faster than a lot of assets after it's coming out of consolidation or a bear market. But some assets are starting to move already. We saw VeChain starting to move today, et cetera, et cetera. So I will be very interested to see what happens. I know that we're all buckled up and along for the ride, but regardless of what's going on, only ever invest, in my opinion, what you can afford to lose completely. But I wouldn't feel comfortable not holding utility assets that I believe in right now, regardless. Like, I just hold them. I've held them for over 2 years at this point, and I try to accumulate when I can. But this, depending on what happens right now, stuff might start to get crazy. We'll see what happens, though. But I won't be surprised either way, and neither should you, and we should all be preparing accordingly so we can succeed in either environment. So I will talk to you guys. Bye.